For this assignment, you're going to be working with the golden hour or that blue light where everything just kind of glows. So you're going to need to do a little research to find out what time that might be. It's the hour before sunset or right after sunrise. There's apps that can help you do that. One is called Sunseeker. You can also use your phone just to get a sense of, what time the sun sets and rises through your weather apps. So there's lots of ways to do this. There's some even more expensive apps out there that are like 20 bucks that will get into great detail about the angle of light. And that will be included in your app guide. So you want to find a place to make these images that is interesting. It's not just about the light, it's about showing off where you're at and the light. Now, unfortunately, not every day is going to be a beautiful sunset or sunrise. Some days are just duds. And this was one of my favorite shots from my trip down to New Orleans. So let's look and see how I explored this concept. I did not get up at sunrise. And most of the time, I don't like to shoot at sunset because it's cocktail hour. So my goal was to go to a variety of rooftop bars and have a little cocktail while I made these images. So hitting all my wants and making some fun stuff. So the first place I got there a little on the early side, and the light just was, starting to get a little bit of that little glow in there. You can see that popping up. I shot this with my Olympus pen camera, and some of you guys know that I love this camera because it has art modes. And this is the dramatic mode. So this is what it looks like just as the straight raw shot, and this is what it looks like with the dramatic mode. I like to at times take both those images and combine them into a new image. And that's what I did here. So I took the more pure, colorful image and I overlaid that dramatic one on top. I took some of the drama off of the top to bring out more of the color. And I like the building being a more neutral tone. So no one says everything has to be strictly what you see. This is what I experienced. So that's one way I like to go about doing this. I add borders to a lot of these images just to be consistent. And in the end, they'll all have borders. This was from the same shoot. So this was the very first night I got to New Orleans. This is at the Alto rooftop bar at the Ace Hotel. And this once again is that dramatic mode. This place had some really yummy drinks. They had some frozen thing, which I never drink, but it was like an orange sickle. Oh boy, not bad. And this is the shot that wasn't so dramatic. So you can kind of see the difference there. I'm probably going to use this shot. Here's another shot looking out. That building, I need to pull up the name of it again. I can't quite remember what it is. But one of the interesting things that I love about it is Lee Friedlander, one of my all-time favorite photographers, did a lot of work in Louisiana. And many times that would be in the background of his shots. So knowing that, I was thinking about that, and I have now recorded that building myself in following in Lee's footsteps. But the light's starting to go down, the street lamps are starting to come on, but it's still pretty bright. I like the shot though. I like what's happening in the sky. Same rooftop bar, another fantastic cloud. And it kind of went to heck after this. It never turned into anything totally spectacularly beautiful. So I chose to use these other images. Got a little bit of color in here. But yeah, it just kind of fell apart. So the next night, I went to a place called the Monkey Board at the Troubadour Hotel. And I brought my point and shoot camera, my Sony RX102, and my iPhone for this shoot. And this is with the Sony. I think this is my favorite rooftop shot of the week. I love the color. I love that odd cloud. I love that I get a sense of the buildings down below. But when I was shooting, I was thinking I wanted to be a little closer. And I used my iPhone with the telephoto lens. I overprocessed it. It didn't look overprocessed on the phone, but as I look at it, once I got off the phone and onto the computer, it just a little over the top for me. Um, this is the one that I ended up posting on social media. I darkened the ground from this one to push our eye up towards the sky. This stuff down at the bottom isn't that interesting, so I'm helping to direct my viewer's eye where I want it to go. This one isn't quite as harsh, but it's still a little over the top, so I'm probably going to go back and rework this, go back to the original iPhone image and see what I can do with it. But I really love this one too. The sky was spectacular. This was the best night. Okay, so there's a gap here. So from this night to this night, I had to skip a night because there was a horrendous rainstorm. Um, like, I don't even know, 2 inches of rain to 3 inches of rain fell in New Orleans in like 2 hours. I was luckily made it back to my hotel room and was only slightly drenched. And I'm looking out the window and I saw water bubbling up out of the manhole covers a foot high. And when it finally slowed down and I went out to grab a bite to eat, all of the buildings around where my hotel were flooded. So they all had sandbags in front of the doors, and I guess this is a pretty normal occurrence down there. So pretty shocking. Wouldn't want to be rushed, have the water pull us away into a drain. And some gal that I was talking to said that she was like running around in water that was a foot deep, and she was hoping that she didn't pick up any horrible diseases. Probably not. Hopefully she washed well. Okay, so from here to the rain night, then to the next night, this one, the bar was called Above the Grid, and it was at the Nopsey Hotel in New Orleans. And this was the best view, and I loved the lights that popped up on the buildings. Once again, I did some darkening of the bottoms of the buildings. That little mural over to the right, I went in and popped that open a little bit more so you could see it a little bit better. And just enjoyed the beautiful light that was happening. And I probably shot, I don't know, 10, 12 different images as light was changing. Slightly different framing of the scene, but mainly here. This was the best shot from here. The one thing about the monkey board, this was basically the only shot there was to be made. It didn't have good views all the way around. It had one view. This was it. Okay, so this one had a couple more views, but this was really the shot because it really gave a sense of the city. So most of these hotels, or these first three hotels, were in the central business district in New Orleans. So that's why they don't look like the French Quarter that you always picture. But the next one was at the French Quarter. Well, while I was waiting for the light to change, I was just having some fun playing with these blowing branches and the colors that were popping up behind. It was a weird, windy night. And as I was waiting for the light to change, this was one of the shots that I made looking out across the Mississippi. You can start to see the lights hitting that building and some of these other buildings, so that they're looking kind of pretty. But this night was kind of a dud too. Not a lot of color happened, but it's a great shot of kind of the old town. So being up high a lot of times gives you an advantage. So I always look for something up high to photograph. So at the very end, as I was leaving, I looked across and they had an observation deck that was just a patio up a little bit higher above the pool. So I looked out and this was the final shot that I made from my rooftop bar series. And I actually really like this one. There was a towel on one of those loungers down below, so I took it out. It didn't need to be there. So it doesn't hurt, to take things out. You are in control. If you're a documentarian and everything has to be there, leave it there. If you're an artist or you're just wanting to make your travel pictures more the way you want to see them, take stuff out. Take the time to work the photographs. Okay, so that's kind of what the assignment is. Let me just pop over here for a second and show you what this looked like before I photoshopped it. Okay, so this was kind of the shot after I took it through Camera Raw. I wanted to pop up the light in the base, down in the town part, and make things glow a little bit more. So I did a few curves, and this one's focusing more on the clouds by the bridge. This one is darkening down the sky a little bit. Added a slight vignette at 50%, and it's that dodge and burn vignette that I like. And then just kind of a little bit of tweaking so that it'll print a little bit nicer. Going to print without this last layer, the lower part was just going to get all mucky and muddy. So that's, some of the work that I did on this image. I want you to look at this. This is the layer. So I was going in and hitting all of the white areas or the lighter areas. So I took my time and just really worked my way through. If we take this off, you can see I was going after popping the whites out here and up along here, the side here. I just kind of did an overall lightening over here. So take the time to work through your files. You'll like it a lot better. Okay, so that's one photograph that was worked. Don't need to save that. Let's see here. I think I will show you this one as well. So this is where it started. I took the base image after I processed it through ACR, and I duplicated it and I opened it back up into ACR because I wanted to pop the pool out. And doing the pool, I also then did the railing up here in the lighter parts. So that's what's happening on this layer. So I'm just kind of popping some of those lighter areas. Then I did a little dodging and burning because I wanted to pull a little bit of the attention off of those chairs, but not totally get rid of them. I did a little darkening down of the sky, but because of the light, the right-hand side is still a little bit lighter. So I used a dodge and burn layer to kind of darken that one down and a little bit more to match the other side. And then just a little curve to pop everything for printing. Give it a little bit more brightness. So take the time to work through your photographs. Think about that golden hour, the blue hour. Think about the light. Think about the clouds. Hopefully you'll get some. And some days are going to be duds and other days are going to be good. So keep trying. Get out there. Make the image. Snappy, snappy.